Hello dear students, and welcome to the 6th semester of your undergraduate course. Since this is the final semester, I pray that the lessons taken both offline and online be of great help to you. I shall be handling new literatures in English and also world classics. Some of the portions shall be taken offline and others shall be taken online. So without further wastage of time, let's get started. Let's start with Remember Me by Alice Walker. So let's begin the poem Remember Me by Alice Walker. I am the girl with the dark skin whose shoes are thin. I am the girl with the rotted teeth. I am the girl with the wounded eye and the melted ear. I am the girl holding their babies, cooking their meals, sweeping their yards, washing their clothes, dark and rotting, and wounded. I would give to the human race only hope. I am the woman with the blessed dark skin. I am the woman with teeth repaired. I am the woman with healing eye, the ear that hears. I am the woman, dark, repaired, healed, listening to you. I would give to the human race only hope. I am the woman offering two flowers whose roots are twin, justice and hope, hope and justice. Let us begin. Okay. So let me just tell you, before we move on to the poem, let me just tell you about the poem as such. The poem Remember Me is a presentation of an ongoing theme in Alice Walker's literature. This theme is one that ignites Walker's passions because it is very much her. It is all about her. She can relate, or we can relate this poem with Alice Walker's life. The life of both herself as well as the other members of her community, especially because they lived in an era of progress for women, is vividly portrayed in this poem. So the theme of the poem is predominantly racism, but she doesn't stop there. She moves on because she is also fighting against gender discrimination. So you will see these two themes running throughout the poem. As being a woman and being a part of the minority or the marginalized, and being black, they are far removed from chances of justice and equality. But Walker does not let go of help. She doesn't stop there. She does not feel negative and surrender to the problems. Rather, she is hopeful that things will change. Now, if you look at the poem is written in the first person narration or the first person, and it makes a reference to Walker's own childhood. I am the girl. I am the woman. The girl in the poem is actually the personification of many black women whose life are darkened by the injustice of being black, above all being a woman, especially in a white, male dominant world. Walker wants the audience to realize the intersectionality of the oppression that women of color face. The poem focuses on the fact that you always need to have hope and see the good in the society, no matter how horrid the situation be. The message of race equality and African American rights is also evident in not just in this poem alone, but almost all her literary works, all her work. Now let's move on to the first stanza of the poem. I am the girl with the dark skin, whose shoes are thin. I am the girl with rotted teeth. I am the girl with the wounded eye and melted ear. So she starts a poem in first person singular, I, and her this shows or this throws a shade in her personal life. I am the girl with dark skin whose shoes are thin. This makes it very clear that she suffered a lot as a dark girl, and the hardships that she had to suffer because of it is shown in the poem. I am the girl with the dark skin whose shoes are thin. How she had to suffer the poverty-ridden life. Her rotted teeth and wounded eye is a reference to her physical demerits. I have already told you how she became partially blind. She also had hearing problems. Rotted teeth, they look dirty and ugly because of the tormented life they live. Wounded eye is a reference, as I told you, to an incident, in fact, an accident, a casualty that happened when she was 8 years old. She was actually shot, or she was accidentally shot in the eye, leaving her partially blind. So the girl in the poem is actually the personification of many black women whose life are darkened by the injustice of being black and also being a woman in this patriarchal world. My personal opinion or my perspective would be that this can be associated with not just with black women, but also with any woman in the society, be she white or black or red or yellow or brown. This problem, this intersectional oppression, can be felt very clear in this male dominant world, superior male dominant world. And if you look at the stanza again, you will find the use of repetition of the line, I am the girl 3 times. This is a literary device called repetition, which puts an emphasis on the fact that she feels insignificant and small. This device is used when the writer wants to make an idea clear. So the girl suffers a lot because she's dark, because she's thin, and because she's a girl, she's marginalized. Thin shows her poverty. Now, the title itself is a rhetorical question. Remember me. Now, what is a rhetorical question? Rhetorical question again is used for an effect, to give an emphasis, to lay an emphasis, and no answer is expected. Okay, the author does not demand an answer. It's just for an effect. Remember me. I am the one. I am the girl. Okay, and thus using repetition and rhetorical device, she is able to capture the attention of the reader to what she wants to say. All right, or to the things that she wants to convey to the reader. She has also used rhyme. The line 1, 2, and 3. Look at line 2 and 3. I am the girl whose shoes are thin. I am the girl with the dark skin whose shoes are thin. Skin and thin. Now, she uses that to capture the attention of the reader. And also, if you look at that first stanza itself, you get a clear picture of the negative emphasis on her appearance. She brings out her physical demerits and her rotted teeth, and how she's portrayed in a very negative light. as an ugly looking person who is shunned by the society. Okay, so through the first stanza, she calls herself a girl. Again, another important point that we must note: she calls herself a girl, even though she's a woman. She calls herself a girl. This is used purposefully to express how she felt insignificant in the society. Children are, their voice or their perspectives are insignificant, right? So likewise, though being a woman, she calls herself a girl. As we move on, you will find there a transition. From I am the girl, it becomes I am the woman. And from the first two stanzas, which portrays black African American women in a negative light, the fourth stanza onwards throws light on embracing their heritage. Okay, there's a transformation. Okay, all right. The second stanza, if you move on to the second stanza, there are two important themes. You will see the theme of racism, and you will also see the theme of patriarchy, the evil patriarchy. Okay. I am the girl holding their babies, cooking their meals, sweeping their yards, washing their clothes, dark and rotting, wounded and wounded. Their babies, their meals, their yards. Now this there has two meanings, two connotations. One is that it represents the male dominant one represents the white dominant society, the superior race, the whites, and the second one represents the male dominant race or the male dominant society. If in the first one, I am the girl holding their babies, cooking their meals, sweeping their yards, washing their clothes, dark and rotting, wounded and wounded, is a reference to how they are, how they feel, how unimportant they are in the society. Alice lists out a list of gives out a list of chores, and also uses this word theirs to show how she felt that she was owned by the superior race, the whites. She had no control over her life. She cooks food, brings up their children, cleans their lawn. She does the same at home also. So in the house of the whites, she feels as though she's owned by these white superior race. And in their own houses, they are owned by their husbands, their men. Okay? So in both the places, they are insignificant. They have no value. They chose their dull, routine life. Now, there could be a question. You could get a question like this. If you're asked a question, how does Alice Walker describe her persona in the second stanza? Now, what is a persona? Persona is a public image or an image which you adopt in the society. Here the writer identifies herself with other dark girls of her age who are treated as slaves. See, in America, especially during the time of Alice Walker's time, racism was on high, and slavery also. Like you have, they were slaves and they were owned by the white people, and they were given no right to education, no right to even a better standard of living. They could only choose to be slaves or servants. They could not think of any other job or any other. They did not have a free life. Their lives were controlled by the white class, superior class. So it is owning, just like owning an animal. Okay. So here, through this second stanza, she brings out how they are treated as slaves. They do all the household chores like cooking, sweeping, washing, taking care of the white children, their master's children. And now this word, theirs, throw light on the type of life they live. They are working for the whites, which are a superior race, and also when they come home, they are working and doing the same in their own houses, which are dominated by their husbands. So both racism and the sufferings they face due to the white authority is portrayed, and also their own subjugation as women in their own house run by the male member of the family, that is their husbands or their fathers. Thus, the poet emphasizes her plight in life, and it stresses the intensity of the wound by repeating the word twice: wounded, wounded. She precisely brings out the marginalized dark girl, which is enslaved by a male-centered, white-dominated society. Okay? All right. Now the third stanza of the poem. Now it's a small stanza. A stanza of just 3 lines. I would give to the human race only hope. Now this stanza has been put here. She has put this stanza very strategically. Okay, I would give to the human race only hope. This is repeated twice in the poem. She grabs the attention, and she is trying to state that racial inequality cannot run their lives anymore. She feels that she's hoping that things will change. She's hoping that the society will realize how evil their doings are and would stop it from being passed on to generation after generation. So this stanza is placed strategically after the first 2 stanzas. The first 2 stanzas are filled with oppression or are filled with oppressive language, which represents the black women, how they are portrayed by the society, or how they are treated by the white superior society, especially the white superior male dominated society again. But slowly, as we come to the third stanza, through hope, Alice Walker says that she is hopeful that the situation will change. It is not going to remain like this forever. It will change. Okay, and this transformation takes place in the next few stanzas, and she transforms from a girl, ugly looking girl who with a low self-esteem, to a woman who has significance, who's not insignificant anymore, who's not unimportant anymore, who's important, whose voice will be heard, and who's hopeful that her voice will be heard, and she embraces, and the one who embraces her dark skin and her heritage. Okay, so the fourth stanza. I am the woman with the blessed dark skin. I am the woman with teeth repaired. I am the woman with the healing eye and the ear that hears. So in this stanza, Alice is starting to accept her race and learns to truly love herself for it. She is no longer the little girl with hurt self-esteem or living stereotypically a life of an African American woman. This is shown through the words such as woman, blessed dark skin, and healing eye. She's not only a woman physically, but she now has the perspective of a proud grown woman who embraces her heritage. Now, if you look at that word, repetition is used. I am the woman, I am the woman. It's different from that of the first 2 stanzas, where she used the line, I am the girl. So that shows the transformation of her mindset. And this transformation is a powerful one. Now, if you move on to the 5th stanza, which again is a very small one, I am the woman dark, repaired, healed, listening to you. This stanza solidifies the growth of the poem. Okay, the solidifies what the poem is trying to get across. In the first stanza, it says Alice has melted ear, which means she has hearing problems. Right? But in the last line of this stanza, in the fifth stanza, she is trying to spread the news to other African American girls that she hears their trouble and will be their voice to the public. Now, how does she hear their trouble without she has hearing problems, impaired ears. So how is she able to listen to them? Through experience. Okay, she has experienced all these problems herself. She knows, and therefore she says that she would become the voice through her writings, through her work for the society. Activism. She would try to bring hope to all the girls, all the African American girls. Again, I would like to use the word girls because they are insignificant. Alice Walker has transformed to a bold woman who, through hope, knows that their things will change. Again, I would like to stress on the era, the time that Alice lived. It was a time of emancipation. It was a time where women where the feminism was on the peak, where women were given rights. Okay, so it was a period of change, a transformation that was taking place itself. So she says she would be the voice to other women, especially the African American girls. Rather, they are women, but she calls them girls, or she would like to, or I would like to use the word girls because they are insignificant. So through her writings, she would be able to spread optimism and hope for a change in the society. Okay. And if you look at the sixth stanza, I would give to the human race only hope. Now this is the third and the sixth is repeated. Alice uses this statement to reiterate her commitment to change society's mindset about racial differences. She shows no sign of resentment to those who wronged her. She is not angry, absolutely no enmity to those people who wronged her. She says she has learned from the past. The past, the violence, the injustice, and the inequality that she had to face, or the whole community had to face, has transformed her, had only helped her to grow. Okay, and she's hopeful that the society will change. Even in a negative situation, she's in such horrid condition, she's able to bring in hope. Okay, all right. The seventh stanza. If you look at the seventh stanza, I am the woman offering two flowers whose roots are twin. So she uses metaphor of two flowers. This stands for how she offers hope and justice to the society. So through the metaphor, Alice tries to get across her point of offering nothing but hope and justice for all African Americans today. She also demonstrates that she has no hostile feelings towards the past. She only wants to grow from it. She does not have any resentments or to those who wronged her, to those who hurt her. Her, in the sense, the whole community, it's personified. Okay, and she's hopeful. She is ready to forgive, and she hopes that the society will change. There would be a day when everyone are equal. The last two stanzas, or the last not the last two stanzas, I'm sorry, the eighth stanza. It has only two lines: justice and hope, hope and justice. But see how beautifully she has arranged it. And perhaps so beautifully that it symbolizes the importance that both have. If we want a better world, a better environment, if we want justice, we need hope. And if we want hope, or if we don't, both hope and justice are two sides of the same coin. They're both important. Without hope, there is no justice, and without justice, there is no hope at all. The world is going to go into a disastrous mode. So there should be two of these qualities should go together: hope and justice. Justice only can lead to or give us hope, and only hope can give us justice. Okay, just think about it, you will understand. And the last line of the poem, the ninth stanza, which contains only one line, let us begin. This powerful one-line stanza has everything conveyed in itself. She says that it is time to end racism. Let us begin. What are we waiting for? Let us begin. Let us begin to start over again. Let us begin to put an end to all the injustice, and let us begin to plant a life where all are equal. Black and white, man and woman, all are given equal importance. Okay? And the poem ends there. So if you look at the second part of the poem, unlike the first part, it reveals the poet's optimism. She would infuse the people of the world with new hope. She will show them the path of justice and hope. Okay? So, let me just quickly tell you about the tone and temper, or the tone and mood of the poem as well. So the first two stanzas, the reader sees a painful, hopeless life of a dark-skinned girl who lives as a slave. She is the personification of all black women whose lives are darkened by injustice of being black and also a woman, especially in a male, white, dominated world. But there is a shift in the tone as we move on with the poem. The poem ends or begins from the fourth stanza, or in fact the third stanza onwards, begins with a positive tone and ends with a positive tone. Hope and optimism transforms her, the poet, to a confident woman. She now sees her dark skin as a blessing. She is now repaired and healed and is capable of listening to the problems of her community. She is repaired and healed. She learned from her past problems. She has no resentments towards anyone who hurt her. Rather, she has only forgiven them because she has learned from the past. She grew from the past. She has become more bold and confident from the past. The past has only helped her to grow. So she has no resentments. But she hopes and prays that things will change. The society will change. Alright? Okay. Hope and justice. Another important thing that I want to stress on is hope and justice. The last two stanzas, the last few stanzas, you will see that it is repeated. This is suggestive of the confidence and optimism of the dark-skinned girl, the poet, and it becomes the central focus of the poem. Despite being oppressed and suppressed by the white, male-dominated world, she gives hope and optimism to others of her kind. After having healed, she encourages others to be healed and to stand for their rights, to fight for their rights. Thus, she is able to speak and act for their emancipation. She hopes for justice to all. So, hope is the only inspiration to keep on an energetic life. Without hope, our life is ruined and, in fact, would decay. But hope keeps us going. Hope is positively connected with life satisfaction and relieves us from a negative and stressful life events. Hope for justice will help women to recreate her self-image. Thus, Walker wants to depict the importance of justice and hope in order to survive in a society that continuously struggles with evils of racism, slavery, and patriarchy. She offers two flowers to the society, justice and hope. These flowers are twins. That is, there cannot be justice without hope and hope without justice. She wants to see women hopeful that everything will change. There would be an end to all kinds of discrimination one day. This is meant by the powerful statement, the last line of the poem, the last stanza, the 9th stanza. Let us begin. Let us begin the struggle to establish these twin flowers, justice and hope, as a reality. All right, so that's it. Thank you for listening. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me when you come to college. Thank you.